Hello, welcome to Western Montana Views. I'm Ryan.
Hi, I'm Lee.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about a topic that was actually fairly popular in recent videos, and that's surviving the 2020s again.
Yeah, everyone's interested in how to make it.
So, some of it's actually true survival skills, some of it's just kind of like spiritual and just to like help you get you through. So I kind of tackled one, and I think maybe my dad tackled another.
Yeah, that's frame of mind.
Yeah, so let's go into that. So I'm going to start off. Let me just take a sip of my water real quick.
We should have slurping sounds.
How about I do swishing and gargling too?
Okay, all right.
All right, surviving the 2020s. I'm going to read my list. He's going to read his list. Gives us a little more chance to read to the camera a little bit. So, surviving the 2020s. You got to have good music. So, today we just saw a thing on CNN with John Fogerty, and if you don't know who he is, he's the lead singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival. And if you know those songs, a lot of those are protest songs. He has a new one based on 2020. Definitely worth looking up. What is it called? Weeping for this time or something like that?
Something like that.
Something like that, but it was a song, it was a real, interesting song to look up. And since I butchered the song's name, just look up John Fogerty 2021. I just reheard the song, check it out, partly because I was looking for it under John Fogerty, right? So I got my artist mixed up. But so it's under John Cougar Mellencamp. But the song "Check It Out's another kind of social justice like song to get you through. It is just to kind of like power you and to get you through. And there's a lot of good violins and a lot of good rock, and a lot of seems like a lot of heart from the heartland. It seems,
right,
for the artistry.
From the breadbasket of America.
Sure, yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just kind of had to switch it up. So, I've been listening to way too much Pussifer and Perfect Circle lately, but it's just damn good. I mean, there's just damn good protest songs. There's good, practical tips, funny enough, in the songs, as you listen to them over and over and over. It's kind of like self-hypnotizing you a little bit.
Well, and the songs are very prophetic, considering that a lot of what you are hearing up to the latest Pussifer that you got were songs and performances from a couple years back. Yeah. And then it's
and a Perfect Circle,
the words hold up exactly for
perfectly.
And that kind of gives you a little bit of a heebie-jeebies.
A little bit, but I can't stop listening to it. It really is.
John Fogerty title, Weeping in the Promised Land.
Weeping in the Promised Land. Definitely look it up. Yeah.
Save. Google.
Cool. You weren't just playing Call of Duty
No,
Mobile?
I wasn't. I'm here.
Okay. Shout out to them for helping us get through. We don't have a sponsorship, but there you go.
Oh, I believe in them. So.
Anyway, to continue, find songs young and old that make you nostalgic for better times, and just program that into you nonstop for your creative process. You got to have good games, whether it's board games. We went into this a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. Board games, video games, card games, all those kinds of things definitely fill up the time for you so much better.
Mm-hmm. And the trade-off in some
when you're bored.
Trade-off in some of your games is that if you're playing a video game, it's kind of a solo experience.
Right.
But a card game can be done with more than just yourself. You can play solitaire by yourself. But if you got the family involved in a game and stuff, it just is better.
Well, and there are times where I want to play Rummy or Cribbage or other games for sure that require more than just myself. Chess is really kind of no fun by yourself.
No. Gotta keep turning the board.
Right, and I guess if you're a freak, you might try doing that, but I just don't see the practical sense. I don't know how you can keep it all straight in your brain. So, for any practical effect, I'm sure there's a super genius that could do it, but I'm just saying that my brain can't do that. So, I just know straight up good tactics as far as, trying to, hit him on a side here, or trying to go up the middle there, or just basic, guard here, distract him there as I hit him around the side there.
Do you use Sun Tzu's Art of War?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. And it kind of evolves throughout the game, too, you know? Like, I never really have a topic. In fact, every time I play a game of chess, I always pick a different piece to move first. Uh-huh. That's probably to throw off the opponent.
Didn't you say also that, you know...
And that's to sharpen my skill to be like, okay, what next? You know, that's what happens with me.
Didn't you say also that, you know, you have a couple books and just simply reading, you know, short pieces of the book and stuff, you can't help but pick up good ideas?
Yeah, it's kind of like picking up card tricks almost, you know? I mean, it's going to take a little while to like really like drill it down and get it right, but you can absolutely learn different maneuvers. One show I haven't watched yet, but I heard is good if you're a chess fan, is called The Queen's Gambit, I guess. So that's been popping up on the Netflix screens here and there, and I guess they show a lot of chess in that. So I might look into that a little bit. Right. So, but yeah, just games, just to help pass the time. Another thing that help pass the time are books.
Right.
Or,
because we're still going to be isolated in our homes for quite some time.
Yeah. Because at least for me, I'm going to be waiting a while for my vaccination. Right. And, you know, thank your lucky stars if you have that vaccination. Seriously.
Right.
You know, you're truly blessed right now.
And for myself, I'm 65 years of age.
Yeah.
And if I were to get sick with COVID, I am basically an untreatable patient, and they would just set me off to the side. I know this.
Yeah.
This is why I'm highly motivated to do the COVID things that I do.
Exactly.
I want to survive this.
Definitely.
Okay.
So let's see. What else do I have? Need to not take in fear. Need to find the answer to get through. Yes. But you don't need to accept that the virus is going to take your life. But you're going to have to be proactive. You know, you're going to have to be proactive with the virus. You're going to have to be proactive with your vote. You're going to have to be proactive with, you know, basically how to, you know, rebuild society after we get through with COVID after this, because we're divided as a country too.
Yep.
You know, so there is that. Let's see. Try to take in as much positive media as possible. By positive media, what's a good example? Like Shawshank Redemption is probably, you know.
Right.
You know, just some movies that are like feel-good movies, basically.
Can't hurt.
By the end of it.
It's better than a depressive movie.
Right. So, you know, try to stay away from the depressing movies. Try to stick to the ones where, you know, you truly expect the protagonist to win.
Something that you're inspired
by at the end, yeah.
That makes you want to be a better person?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And there are complicated people out there. There are people that don't always follow the straight and true path, you know, but you hope that there is some hope for redemption or some hope for trying to, you know, make things right or, you know, just whatever, you know, because otherwise, if everything is just hopeless, you know, that's just dark, you know, you're not inspiring anything. It's just...
Well, even if it doesn't...
You're giving in to the nihilism.
Even if it doesn't inspire you to be the better person, it might give you the reaffirmation that you're doing okay.
Sure,
and that everything is okay. And that you will come out the other side of this trauma.
Yeah, basically. Doesn't mean you're going to be rich or a celebrity or anything like that, but I do think that if you take some of these messages in, that if you apply yourself, you can really achieve something that you want.
Well, just being able to successfully cope with with the seemingly uncopable.
Sure. Let's see, what else did I have? I have find a goal, stick to it. You'll feel a lot better about yourself, even if you don't know the whole journey. I mean, it's okay. It's okay if you don't truly know where things are going just yet.
No, we're all kind of confused.
We're all very confused right now. Right. So, I mean, none of us are mind readers. None of us can read the future. None of us truly have the crystal ball to make things work or work out.
Right.
You know, my first channel was called Nostradamus, and I had fun with that because I was predicting the future and with relative accuracy within a few months as I was reading the tea leaves of certain reports. I was truly predicting crap that was happening.
or was that the download? You were getting the download.
Okay, yeah. So our theory on the download is we have no proof.
But it's not conspiracy theory.
But it's not quite conspiracy theory because it ends up getting backed up later on TV or something.
It's mostly a we
come up with it and then the TV backs it up on like a credible source. It's like AP has said, and we're just like.
It's nothing that we brag to others. It's something that we look at each other when it happens, and we go, and we put it at the TV and go, weren't we just talking about this? So coincidence. We call it the download.
Yep. And goals don't have to be just monetary goals. I mean, try to have just some personal goals that can help you yourself out. Like, who's a perfect paragon of a human being? Nobody. Everyone could use improvement. Everyone could use a little bit of an attitude check. Everyone could use, like if you're not a perfect working out kind of person, you probably need to work out a little bit, Right. And I'm not, I need to lose a few pounds. So there you go. But I'm not going to, worry about it. I'm just going to try to find a goal, stick to it, and just kind of eat a little less in a day, try to add a little more activity in a day, and just see how that works out. And drink a few less sodas than I have been, and that's kind of what I've been doing lately.
And
so
you do have to kind of work into it.
Yeah.
Unless you're a cold turkey crazy sort of a person. I'm going to do this
and stop some of the late night snacking that I was doing,
So up to the top of a mountain tomorrow.
But it's amazing how that sneaks up on you where, back in high school, like you wouldn't gain a pound, but now you're just like, holy crap, if I stick with this, I'm going to be.
It's all downhill after 30, man.
It kind of is. And then the last thing I have is it's okay to fuck up, but it's not okay to just give up on yourself. Like I said, you're not a perfect paragon of a human being. There's more things to work on. It's a new decade, and I'm thinking with new leadership in Congress, too, I think there's going to be more generational change, and for the better.
And that's what we need, because what's happening is that
because we have to live in this shit longer than the older generations do. So
future generations, yours included, they're really getting the short end of the stick, from environment to financial to social conditions, social justice, to everything. You're getting the short end of the stick. War, the baby boomers want you to pay for the past 20 years of war. Wasn't that their war? Shouldn't it be their dime? Pay up.
You would think.
Well, pay up.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted it, you pay for it. But it shouldn't come out of future generations. You can't just keep running up the bills saying grandson or great-grandson will pay for it. Great-grandson's going to say, you.
Well, and that's kind of where a lot of generations are at. I mean, regardless of party right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, excuse my interruption. Continue.
No, you're good. Basically, I just see more change. So just kind of just ride out this tide,
Well, one thing at a time.
And then if I can circle back to music, there's this funny scene in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yes.
And basically, it's Wilson Phillips, basically. It's Hold On for One More Day. And they're singing along to it in the car, basically. They're looking at each other that's like, I'm not gay, are you gay? I'm not gay. I like the song, though. Yeah, I like the song. Kind of deal. That's the vibe they're pulling off for the show. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, it's a classic anyway. So... Anyway,
go to YouTube, find the clip.
Go to YouTube, find the clip, and basically they're just singing along to it at the end, and it's just hilarious. So but it's true. You gotta hold on for one more day. You gotta keep going for something. There's always something more to go for out there.
Sure.
Sure.
Things always look better in the morning's light.
Sure. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
All
right. So that's what I have. That's my list, and we will move on to. My fathers.
Okay, well, we previously touched on surviving in the 20s. We talked about managing your finances. Very important. Not a lot of people have finances. Hopefully money will be coming real soon. But you have to manage your finances. There's a lot that you can do about that. Curbing your impulse buying. not buying a new car just simply because your neighbor bought a new car and you got to be current, just some common sense about controlling your finances. We talked about upping your skill set, maybe learning something new.
Mm-hmm.
Maintaining your gear. Maybe what you got is all that you're going to have for a while, so it should at least be in good repair, serviceable, functionable. Take care of your gear. And then we talked about maintaining your morale. All of those things are important. We emphasize them again. It will probably be noticeable right away if you think about mutual respect and mutual consideration, no matter who you interact with.
Sure.
Your family members, strangers on the street, known or perceived adversaries. If your neighbor is not of the same political party, they're probably still a good person.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't deserve the hatred.
No.
And neither do you.
No.
Can you be civil with each other? Certainly.
I hope.
Certainly. And we're going to have to. We're going to have to start getting along. The people that just want to burn it all down and have fun doing it, well, fun's over. Fun is over.
Yeah.
Working together, yeah, you can. And that's what we're going to have to do. We're at least going to have to be considerate and respectful of other people's points of view. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to go to war with them if they don't think like you.
Right.
What a boring.
But I think that's where that positive media also could come into play too.
Certainly. Your mutual respect and goes to your family, strangers, and here's an interesting one that I added onto my little list: animals. You know what happens to a cowboy that treats his horse rough? He gets dumped on his head and stomped.
Mm-hmm.
And the cowboy would be first to admit, treated the horse like shit. What do you think the horse is going to do?
Right.
Kick your dog.
No.
See if you're going to get bit.
Yeah, he probably will.
Right?
We don't advise any animal cruelty on this channel, by the way, ASPCA or any of those. So we just want to put that out there real quick.
Right. Your neighbor's cat in the middle of the road is your neighbor's cat. You don't need to drive over it.
Swerve into it, yeah.
Respect. Considerations. That's what's going to be required in the future for us to get along and be civil with each other and be constructive enough to build our future.
At least try to respect your own neighborhood,
right.
Where you live,
Right. If you do this.
Yeah, you live among I don't mean just you, Dad. I mean you, America, live figuratively amongst a bunch of neighbors, basically. Treat it as such.
Right. If you do this, if you exercise...
It's not that hard.
If you exercise mutual respect and consideration for all things on the planet, it will foster harmony and oneness of the cosmos. Tie-dye t-shirt. You had to let me go there. Okay. Ryan mentioned indirectly mentioned self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think the world is horrible and that your neighbors are horrible and that there is nothing good coming and the world's going to end badly for you, chances are it's going to. Your life doesn't have to be
all consuming.
All bad.
No.
It doesn't have to be bad.
And look, I even have a little prepper in me. I mean, I'm looking into how to, put solar panels together to power a freezer, that way, if things go really bad, I at least can have some, frozen food,
I like that.
Frozen meat, frozen food, and that's why I got into solar in the first place, is just looking into those neat little science projects that we could put together, basically, and come up with something kind of cool.
Ryan likes making ice from the sun.
Yes, I do.
He'll show you that someday.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a video in the future, for sure. Absolutely.
Ice from the sun.
Yep, it's just we haven't gotten too much sun or too much intensity from the sun. We actually have to kind of wait a little bit, but we will get that as a video of basically hooking up solar panels, using the sun to power them. They go to the battery bank. And then basically from the battery bank, it goes to the inverter. And then from the inverter, you power that device, through AC 120. That goes in. It makes ice. You can basically make ice from the sun. You just keep filling it with water. It's that simple.
Pretty trick. When the power goes out, you want to save your burger.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that was the first practical thing is look, I cannot power a whole, huge, standing freezer, but I can make ice. Yeah. And it'll take a long time for that ice to melt. Yeah, so there you go. So that's some thinking right there,
That's some engineering there.
And the hope is the ice will get you through for the next day or two if it was a planned outage or something like that. If it's an unplanned outage, it might be even longer, but you might be living out of coolers, but at the very least, at least you have ice, at least you have things that can seal up, and that's, you still have a fridge, that can seal. You still have, things that can seal. So even as chest freezers, you could still pack ice in them.
Certainly.
Absolutely. Certainly. So you might have to convert your fridge to a cooler, but you could still make the ice and then still keep your stuff cool. So that's why I looked into that for food preservation.
Sure.
Not to go off on a tangent, but yeah, that was a project I went on. So that was fun.
Advocate solar.
Sure.
My point with the self-fulfilling prophecy is that you still have a say in your future.
Well, and that's just it. I wasn't going to let it be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Sometimes you just have to solve the question. Sometimes you have to just be, okay, we can figure this out. What is it? Might cost a little money, but, hopefully with a little brains and ingenuity, you can put together a project.
Right.
And make it work for you, And I'm not saying everyone can do what I did, but I can't do everything that everyone else can do.
Right.
But you certainly know where your skill set lies.
Sure.
Make it work.
Sure. And, you're managing your finances in that regard, too, in that you're investing in something that, should you need it, will always be there for you.
Sure.
So, good thinking. Have faith in yourself to make good decisions. And your self-fulfilling prophecy will be a lot rosier than being a doubting Thomas, a naysayer.
Things are hopeless, a nihilist, yeah.
Right, who was that?
We believe in nothing.
Was that Eeyore in Winnie the
Pooh?
What was he always saying? It's all hopeless.
Yeah.
It's all hopeless. How are we doing on time?
We're doing good. We're at 23 minutes.
Nice. The last thing on my list is I wanted to mention a guy by the name of Maslow. His name is Abraham Maslow. He published a paper in 1943 called Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of this. Yeah.
Now, Google it, and you'll go down a very interesting rabbit hole. And it has to do about what motivates a human being. And in this pyramid that he's made, it's divided into 5 parts. He's talking about, let's see, and I'll address one part, which is a physiological need, which is the bottom base of the pyramid is your physiological need.
Mm-hmm.
Food, clothing, shelter. Mm-hmm. Okay, do you have those 3? If not,
you got to square those away.
You've got to square them away like yesterday.
Yeah, right quick.
Yesterday. If your home environment is deteriorating and your neighbor's home is deteriorating, can you live together safely with COVID? Can you pool your resources? Marriage originally was a pooling of resources. That was the whole, and reproduction. Didn't have this 21st century connotations or the 20th century connotation. Think back to caveman. They're pooling their resources.
Sure.
Right?
Makes sense.
And reproduction. So, the physiological needs, which is the bottom base of the pyramid, addresses air. Well, we take air for granted here in Montana. Seems to be always good, right? But there's not a lot of places around the world that have it as good as we do.
No, that's true.
So
very true.
Good point. What do you have to do about what can you do about that? Or is that something that for now you have to overlook and move on, like water? Again, in Montana, with our watershed, not a problem. Mm-hmm. Not all of it's potable.
No, not all of it.
Some of it has to be
still filtered. Yeah.
Still filtered, sanitized, sterilized to some fashion. But you have to have water.
I mean, because an elk or a cow can, or something can still crap in a creek.
Pooping upstream.
Well, I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I don't care how clear that water looks. I mean, there's always something upstream that could have died, or it could have, I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Giardia is a real thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just one of those things where, you see people sometimes drinking the water from that, and, it's nothing that I haven't done. I've done it, but it's just a matter of, you gotta be careful.
Right. He goes on to talk about food. Do you have food? I know that, the United States and our residents in Montana are really hurting to put food on the table. But you need this basic physiological building block for the rest of your pyramid to actually go. Again, Google it, read it. You'll find it very interesting. And I encourage the Googling for people that are my age or 10, 20 years younger than me. If you're 10, 20 years younger than me, you probably have a real good handle on the internet and computers and technology and all that stuff.
Interwebs ain't a problem.
Interwebs. But if you're 60 and older, maybe you just don't want to mess with the crap.
Hey, fair enough.
Fair enough. But if your grandpa that has a cell phone, look up Maslow, Maslo. Google.
I thought it was Z.
Read. I thought it was Z too, but then I Googled it.
Oh, but the Google said.
You're right. You also need shelter. Mentioned that just a bit ago. But what was interesting to me was sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And rest. Part of that has to do with another part of sleep and rest is warmth and security. As you read this chart,
right.
And as it's broke down, security is feeling safe.
So there's shelter, then there's feeling safe, then there's, friendships and...
Right. There's all kinds of structure, but
right,
to read
read
it the way that he diagrammed it, it's like it's everything that you've always known anyway.
There are pictures of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. There are pictures of that pyramid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So if you Google that, it's there.
So again, Google it.
Sure.
Thought it was interesting.
Definitely. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Really? Got another one in the can.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We enjoy doing this. Please hit that subscribe button. Please ring the bell. It really does help the channel out. We thank you so much. You have a good day.
See ya.